What should have been a fun and exciting Christmas cruise turned into a nightmare for a Myrtle Beach, South Carolina couple last week. Plagued by health issues, plagued by financial issues, stranded on an island in the Bahamas. It should have been a great time. It was a Christmas nightmare. Let's look at their story, ask the questions. What can we learn from it? What could we do to prevent this nightmare Christmas cruise? Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido Loca. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you are into cruising, if you love that cruise life, consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of our uploads. This story hits a little close to home. We're here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Just a few hours to the east is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the place that we go when we want to visit the beach, the closest beach to us really. And there's a couple over there that owns a small business, Narcine and Bruce Campbell, and they decided to spend their Christmas holiday on a cruise ship. So they closed the shop, they went and jumped on a cruise, and everything was good until last Saturday when Bruce started showing signs of a stroke. His wife is quoted as saying that drool started coming down from his mouth, that one side of his mouth went further down than the other, and one of his fists clenched up and he was unresponsive. He was seen by the medical staff on the cruise ship, and they indeed confirmed that Bruce had had a minor stroke and that he needed to be seen as soon as possible by medical staff beyond what was on the cruise ship. So they put him on a boat, they took him to Freeport, Bahamas, to the hospital there where Bruce was stabilized, but the doctors there told the couple that Bruce's stroke was progressing and that he would need further medical attention. And what complicated the issue is that the hospital was not up to 100% of its resources and its ability to give care because of the hurricane that happened there earlier this year. The hospital suggested that they relocate Bruce to a hospital in the Bahamas, but the big challenge for the couple is they did not have travel insurance and they really didn't have any money. Narcine says they were stuck at this hospital in Freeport with only $20 to their name and no travel insurance. It's important to note that the first 3 days of the hospital care there in Freeport was paid for by the cruise line, so it did give them just a short window to figure something out. Of course, the desire was to get Bruce back to the United States, but here they are in this foreign land, kind of stuck. They started a GoFundMe page and enough money was accumulated there that they could get home. However, access to the funds would take well over a week. It would take until December 31st. The funds aren't even available right now. So that left them stuck in the Bahamas. They reached out to the U.S. Embassy that said, okay, look, we see that you have this money coming in. We can loan you the money and you can sign a promissory note and then that way we can get you home. However, because of the Christmas holiday, the offices in Washington are closed and you would still have to wait until the offices open back up. Now, all this transpired starting last week on Saturday, and then by Christmas Eve, this story had made it to the local news station there in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and they aired this story on Christmas Eve night about this couple being stranded in Freeport, and their daughter reports that an anonymous donor came forth and donated 2 plane tickets so that the couple could come home. So everything that I'm reading right now is that the couple has made it home based on the generosity of an anonymous donor. Now, first and foremost, thoughts and prayers out to the Campbell family. Hopefully Bruce gets the medical care that he needs. Hopefully they caught the stroke in time, that he will not have any long-lasting effects. But their story is one that we can learn from. We've talked about it before, but it's worth talking about again. What is ironic is just recently on our last Lido Loca cruising podcast that you can get anywhere that you listen to podcasts or you can visit the podcast channel, we talked about 2 very specific things. We talked about our cruise phobias and we talked about cruising during the holidays. And my biggest cruise phobia is this scenario right here, that some sort of health issue happens and I cannot get the medical care that I need. Now, one thing that we always do that we would recommend that everybody else do is get medical insurance. The biggest challenge that the Campbells had here was they just didn't have enough money. You either got to have a substantial amount of money sitting in your checking and savings account in case something happens so you can be self-insured, or like I think most of us, you got to purchase some sort of travel insurance in case something like this happens. Now, we've been on several cruises, we've never used our travel insurance, and so after a period of time, it feels like, wow, I'm just piling money on top of money and I'm never actually using it. Is it really worth it? Well, stories like this remind me with a resounding yes, it definitely is worth it. With medical insurance, they wouldn't have had this stress of being stuck at a hospital. They wouldn't have had the stress of trying to raise money through GoFundMe. They wouldn't have had the stress of trying to work with the embassy to get home. They would have just been able to engage their medical insurance and gotten them out of there, got them to the place that they needed to be. So again, there's a lot of places that you can go to get travel insurance. So we use the company Alliance, but there's also like a clearinghouse where you can search multiple companies called insuremytrip.com. We're not affiliated with any of those people. I just throw them out there because those are the ones that we've used in the past and those are ones that we've heard of. But yes, do yourself a favor. I've never paid more than $200 for medical insurance to cover us on a cruise, and it is well worth it. $200 versus the challenges that the Campbells went through. It's very simple. Cruising is seen by many as a low cost or budget option for travel. However, you have to put the cost in there to either self-insure, you gotta have a big pile of money in case you need medical or you need to get home, or you have to put the funds in there to buy some sort of insurance. I would strongly say that if you don't do that, you are putting yourself at great financial risk and possibly health risk. So I cannot stress it strongly enough. Let this be a cautionary tale. Let this be the teachable moment. This is another example on top of many examples of people who were challenged financially because of health issues while on a cruise. Travel insurance, bake it into your cost. Having travel insurance is one of those components of stress-free cruising. I did do this video here about cruising stress-free. I would encourage you to watch it. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you found anything helpful with this video, please hit the like button. Again, consider subscribing. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.